I'm DaJuan Johnson, and I'm excited to introduce you to my Think Bigger Actor podcast, where I'm going to share with you different kinds of talks and coachings and conversations with actors and industry professionals on thinking bigger. I hope these conversations will help you on your path to success because I believe success is an inside job that starts with your mindset and the thoughts you hold dominant in your mind. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Your path to thinking bigger begins now. Hey Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing well, DaJuan. How are you doing yourself?
Good. I'm doing great. I got to tell you that I'm a little bit nervous to talk to you. I'm just going to be honest with everybody who's listening. I'm a little bit nervous because every time I talk to a trainer, a nutritionist, or anybody in the health, fitness world, I feel like they get me into like doing burpees or something, and I don't, I don't want to do burpees.
That's actually really funny because, in my whole career as a trainer, that's one of the things I actually have consistently promised some of my clients is that I will not make them do burpees because I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some people that hate burpees, but for the wrong reason. And so you got to make them do them too. And I think that might be you, but
no, we'd have to find out. Oh man, I love it. But I'm not doing burpees, especially not on the podcast. Anybody out there who's listen, don't do burpees. They mess up your knees, your back. I'm getting older. It's just like it's not a thing I want to do. But I'm going to be completely honest. I have you here because I also want to talk about like getting older, gaining weight, and all that stuff. And you seem to be the guy to talk to about all of this stuff. And so, I don't know. Let's just dive right in. Why work with actors? That's what I want to say first. Why work with actors?
Yeah, actors. I used to be an athlete when I was growing up, and film and television wasn't the biggest part of my life. But after that ended in my youth, in my early adulthood, that's when I made that transition to finding a new tribe and a new group of people. And I felt that people that just really accepted me. I was always a little strange, a class clown type child. My mom has all the home videos that we made as kids growing up, and I used to have a camera and I'd do, things. And actors really resonate with me. And I also found that, of course, there's a component of health and fitness that we want as an actor as well. And so my specific group versus also having the opportunity to work with people that have a specific need seemed like a really excellent fit.
Yeah. So, then I guess the big question is, I'm a gentleman over a particular age. We're just going to say I'm over 30. Right. I'm over 30 and, I have been coined with the dad bod. Why is it so hard for me to lose weight? Like right now over a certain age, like why are we packing on the weight?
Yeah. So, any fitness person worth their salt would definitely say it depends before almost any statement that they say definitively, but we'll give you an avatar, right? So over the age of 30 male is at that age of 30, that is actually when our male sex hormone testosterone starts to naturally decrease. And there's not much we can do to stop the process. We do have some tactics we can implement to delay the process or minimize the impact. But ultimately, what happens with a decreasing testosterone is it lowers the ability for a male to maintain and build muscle mass. And that's actually a very specific factor that goes into what our basal metabolic rate is. So excuse the nomenclature, but essentially that's how many calories we burn each day at rest. And so if you have less muscle mass, you have less calories being burned. You combine that with sedentary lifestyles, higher cortisol levels that come with age, being a father, anything like that too. And we can just have a non-ideal metabolism going on, which if you think of our metabolism, that's a series of billions of chemical reactions happening simultaneously. And so it's hard to visualize exactly what the impact is. But if you were to zoom out and kind of do an X-ray, there's so much going on that we want to have as much harmony to maximize your ability to keep weight off. The world's not designed for you to be really fit. It's designed for you to have more comfort. being seated throughout the day or driving, or do we watch shows? Are we standing much? And so it's a lot easier in the 21st century to put on weight.
All right, Nick, you said a lot to me, and I'm nervous. I just want to know, like, tell me why, like, I mean, if you can see me on YouTube, I'm touching my stomach. I'm not going to put it on screen. This is the area I'm trying to get rid of, and I don't want to be vain, but like, how do I get rid of that?
You are in a position right now, more than likely, where you're consistently consuming more calories on a daily basis than you burn. So if we think of calories as fuel, you are attacking and holding on more fuel onto your body than you use each day. And so your body needs to store it somewhere. And typically, especially for men, it'll be around the midsection.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like you just called me fat. I mean, I can call myself fat, but like,
I don't even use that word except when we're talking about nutrition specifically.
Oh, I love it. Okay, man. All right. Well, let's take it back from the very beginning, man. I just wanted to say, all right, leading man protocol. Like when, I first got introduced to you, I loved the name of leading man protocol. Because that's what most of us actors, males want to be leading men, or we want to be, at least A-list talent, right? Like we want to be up there. And so, tell me about leading man protocol. And I guess, is it for women too, or just like, let's just dive in, I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, for leading men, that was the biggest group of people I could resonate with and have the largest impact of at the same time, while keeping my message tailored to a group of people who I thought I could help.
Yeah.
I'm 32, so I've hit that magic age of 30. So I'm also personally invested in the testosterone conversation. And it's the same practices that I specifically employ for myself to maintain the best physique and honestly, more than anything, a healthy lifestyle for men who are aging. Now, having said that, of course, a lot of the science that we operate under will actually be very similar for women as well. About 85 to 90% of the same theories would be really applicable, but we are dealing with a different hormone profile and a variety of other biological factors. So women can definitely benefit from almost anything we'll talk about today. And it would be for women if they're open to it. It is just, of course, if you're looking at my page or my profile, you'll see that a lot of it's more tailored to men. So that's just because that's the group I resonate with more, but I'm open to solving anyone in the acting community's problems.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we have different bodies, right? Like, and so, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, there's curves, or like the they have just for women, the facilities as well. I just was wondering, like, as people listen to this, could this apply? Could this be applicable to both? In this sense. But again, it's in the name, leading man protocol. So, what is in your mind? I mean, I know this is probably a big question, but what in your mind is like a leading man? Like, are we talking that chiseled physique like Daniel Craig in 007, or is it just whatever your mind considers leading? I just want to know what you like. What does that consider? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, there's obviously a lot of people will think of that Daniel Craig, James Bond physique coming out of the water.
Idris. Yeah, right.
You're like, okay, I want to look like that guy. That's actually a really attainable physique for people to get.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of work to get to look that lean for a consistent period of time. It's most actors actually won't sustain that for a long period of time. So that's something that is a class 3 in my nutrition scaling program, where somebody has to be really extremely regimented, can't really cheat on their diet to achieve that look. Most people aren't ready for level 3, and level 1 and level 2 aren't worse. They're just match up different with the way people's mindsets and what they want their body to look like. So there's nothing wrong with having a dad bod, because that's the way.
Wait. Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me when you say dad bod? Go ahead. You
gotta be polite and look in the eyes of the people you talk to. And so, the dad bod exists. There's also people that happen to be heavier than dad bod as well. And so whatever somebody's goal is, there's no way to diminish that. There's no point in it. We want you to move forward in your best interests for your health first.
Yeah.
And then the physique's a byproduct. Of course, there's some vanity involved with being an actor specifically. And we acknowledge that, but we also acknowledge that we have really realistic expectations for anybody taking on the program to understand that there is a trade-off for being super lean.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Well, listen, super lean. I think it's always easy when in my mind when I'm thinking about Daniel Craig or thinking about like any of those other actors, because I can make the justification that they probably have somebody cooking for them. You know, they probably have like food delivered or something. And so they know exactly what to eat, exactly how to work out. So I give myself, you know, that pass. But it sounds like you're saying that I can do that even without a chef or, you know, somebody cooking and doing all that stuff for me. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's about right? So your mindset's correct in the sense that they more than likely have a support system of some capacity, right? They could have a mindset coach, they could have a dietitian they're working with, they can have somebody who's meal prepping. They're all individual things that need to be accomplished. And if you have support in them, you're more likely to be successful. But you could do all these things on your own too.
Right.
You have the ability to do it. A lot of the times, the nomenclature or the world itself is intimidating. And a lot of people have a negative mindset. And then they might, more than anything, we want to actually break people's limiting belief systems.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a bigger barrier.
You're talking my language, right? About that's in every way, you know, that has to go there. I want to get into the leading man. What is the leading man protocol? But I want to stay on this for a quick second. And it sounds like, I mean, of course, I'm 120% behind this, but it sounds like you are equating working out, fitness, eating right directly to mindset.
Yeah, 100%. So, right. And this ties in well with the premise of the leading man protocol, but I firmly believe that where the mind goes, the body will follow. And you need to think in certain manners, you can almost be absolute. Now, only Siths believe in absolutes, but we want to make sure, that was a little Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I got it.
We want to make sure that we just have an understanding that when we want to approach this with a mindset of, you know, being relentless, and like this is very important to a lot of people, and so they need to acknowledge that and understand that, yeah, I have barriers, and maybe I have a limited mindset or belief system right now that's more than likely the thing that's actually preventing me from achieving the result I want. And so that's the biggest hurdle. It's always the biggest hurdle for people is taking someone from a place of not believing in themselves. And I actually stole from you, borrow my faith in you.
Yeah.
And so that's temporary. And so if we can build a system where somebody can get some wins, stack some wins on the board and start getting some momentum, that self-belief can just exponentially increase. And that's where real results can be seen. So more than anything, we need to get your brain in the right spot, your mind in the right spot. And then there's two major components outside of that. There's three pillars in total. And we have the fitness and nutrition aspects. So in terms of weight loss, I talked about calories. 75% of weight loss is your nutrition. Anybody who tells you anything differently is misinformed, or there's something we're not taking into account. The other 25% is your fitness, but the fitness and nutrition are both wheels on a bicycle. If you want to ride this bicycle from one destination to the other, you need to have both wheels operating. If one of them turns into a flat tire, you're just not going to get where you want to go. So what happens with a good fitness program is you will have a healthier lifestyle more than anything. I think if you could take all the benefits from fitness and put them in a pill, you would prescribe that more than any other pill that's been prescribed in the history of humans. And people just don't quite understand that sometimes. And the same thing can go with food too. A lot of people have no problem taking a pill to solve a problem, and they understand that, yeah, this will have a chemical reaction in my body and bring a desired result. Well, the same thing is with our food. Our food is just a series of chemical reactions as well too. And so when we really live in harmony with those decisions, with the appropriate mindset and a growth mindset, that's where you can become a leading man in that regard, is when you have more harmony and definitive destination in mind.
Mhm. So, okay. All right. So we got food, we got fitness, and I am still feeling personally attacked right now on my own podcast, but that's fine. That's okay. Because I feel like, if we jokes aside, one of the things that I tell myself, and I'm the mindset guy, right? I like to talk about mindset, about fitness is I don't have the time, right? That's one of my blocks, I think that I say. Number two is it's so hard for me, using that word, you already know you're into it, but it's so hard for me to make 3 different meals because I have like kids who just want mac and cheese, or, I try to make a spread and they don't want to eat that stuff that's healthy. So I tell myself that it's just easier to throw something together. So as I look down and I see my stomach, I'm like, but you want to take your shirt off if the Marvel calls, so this is all not matching up. So I'm hearing the limiting beliefs, or, in my world, we also call them like assumptions that I can't do this, or I cannot, or there's assumptions, or there's, interpretations of my situation. I hear all of that, but one of the things that I say in coaching with actors, is that my excuses are sexy, right? My excuses are cute as a button. They're like these little kids that they can't make food for. My excuses they're all excuses, right? So I'm wondering, how would you, let's use me, how would you even approach me by everything I just gave you? Nick, would you just be like, get it together? What would happen?
Yeah, everyone's different, of course,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so you have to put your coach's hat on sometimes, and think about the psychology of the person you're dealing with. The good thing with you, DaJuan, right now is you're well aware that you're making excuses.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you're already past some of the most challenging steps of having somebody realize that maybe I'm putting these barriers up here
Hmm.
because my subconscious mind, 95% of my brain,
Yeah.
is thinking these thoughts that I tell myself.
Hmm.
So I would take even a step deeper, and with the mindset, kind of bring it all the way back to your identity more than anything. And quite a simple way to ask somebody is, do you identify as somebody who exercises and goes out of their way to take care of their health or not?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the answer is no,
Hmm.
not like a true, genuine one. Sometimes, of course, yes, it is. But, this is a question you can ask towards some people too. You know, did you have a cigarette today?
Hmm. I don't smoke, so mine would be no, right? Hmm.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not a smoker.
No, so yeah, no, I'm not a smoker, definitely. Hmm.
You wouldn't have to think deeply about that.
Mm-mm. No.
Just no, I'm not a smoker. It's not something I do. So when that identity shift occurs for somebody, where you make a decision where you go, I'm going to become this person and it's my choice. Having a lot of assistance and support on the side is great, right? When you have somebody look at your barriers, for you it'd be time. And the reason why I actually work with actors really well is because that's a common barrier a lot of actors face: time.
Mhm.
So I'd like to even just address things. We can look at the time issue that a lot of people face. As long as your nutrition's pretty good, 75% good, and you have a good exercise routine, you're going to start making progress no matter what. If you're from an absolute still not moving part, and that's incredible. You'll start feeling better right away. You'll start building those wins where you might even start more consistently identifying as, I'm somebody who takes care of their health daily, because that's the type of person I am. I'm an actor who takes care of his tool, of his career, and the rest of your life. And that's an important decision to make, and commitment to yourself and your career and your future as well. If you're not willing to have that conversation with yourself, you're maybe just not ready for it. And that's okay too. I
Yeah.
think you are, I
Mhm.
think you're aware, and having a support system in mind is great. So eliminating barriers. Time's the big one that a lot of people have. So if I could get you to eat the right food, I just have you go for a walk each day to
Mhm.
start.
Yeah.
And then we'd probably massage it from there. And a good question to ask a lot of people is, even though we're actors and there's homework involved, did you watch that show on TV last night?
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? Whatever your favorite show is. It's like, yeah, I did. It's like, you had time.
Sneaky. That's a dad move, bud. That's a dad move. Oh, okay. So it's not, well, listen, I personally, have been working on my agreement with the word time anyway, right? Because I think it's all by agreement. If what I agreed to is that I do or do not have time, or my relationship with time has been changing for the last couple of years. But what it sounds like to me is it's not just time, it's about prioritizing, really, is what we're getting into a little bit there. So okay, all right, so that first step, let me back up one more time then, because I'm gonna utilize this time with you. And we're gonna use me as a sample here. But tell me, so I know, I'm not signing up yet, I'm just saying, what is the Leading Man Protocol?
So it's a program designed to take you from where you are and meet you where you are, so you have the support to actually go where you want to go. Now, that program can be tailored to an individual if they have a very unique goal or a long-term mindset in place. But a lot of time I work with people in 3-month installments.
Yeah.
And that gives a lot of people who have a variety of different goals, a significant period of time to achieve results, start getting an idea of what doing it right looks like, guidance along the way. And then some people, they go on to greener pastures, of course, they move on and they're exercising. And that's the end goal for every person that I work with, is for you to be independent in the long term. But some people continue on longer too. They appreciate having the support, the growth that happens in the program. And what happens is we do a lifestyle audit. We figure out where your time is, what kind of limiting self-beliefs we live in. We go into your identity again, like I said, a lot, and the stories we tell ourselves and the things that impacted us growing up. And having an understanding of why you might feel a certain way is going to really help you moving forward. So once we got your mind right and we got you some wins going up, the nutrition becomes the biggest priority, is, making sure we understand where your nutrition is and where it needs to be. And that I could speak on for hours. There's so many complexities that every individual has, but generally speaking, people also have, problems with food in their relationship with it. And that's something we see more in terms of stress management, or, I saw an excellent commercial the other day where somebody's like, I realized at a young age, I was conditioned to finish my plate. Right. And, 50, 100 years ago, finishing your plate was probably a non-negotiable. But where we live now, that mindset could be toxic for a lot of people. So once we have a good understanding of where we need to go with the food, that's when the fun part is actually the fitness.
Yeah.
Because we get to grow.
Well, I'm not outing myself here at all, but I'm just going to say that probably food and I, right? I think that is, because I heard you say mindset, nutrition, and food and fitness, right? Those are the 3 pillars you've been talking about for a bit here in the Leading Man Protocol. I think I just really like chicken and waffles and popcorn and stuff like that, and not in like this, like overwhelming bunch of it. But listen, I had you on because you said in one of your reels, you're like, you can still have nachos. And I was like, okay, this is somebody I want to talk to.
Guy.
This is my guy. He's not going to make me give up chicken and I mean, shredded chicken and nachos. And I was like, well, okay, we can have a conversation now, because I think that's one of the big things. That we feel like we have to sacrifice so much or give up so much to have this body. And maybe that is what you're saying. We got to give up a couple of things, but food, it's all food. And I got to be honest with you. If somebody really came in and told me what to eat on a daily basis, and I didn't have to spend that bandwidth, I think the other components for me will go in a lot easier.
Everyone's different again, right? In the coach's cap, but I'll out myself as well, because you did it today. I had a workout this morning because I'm an early riser, and I was in a hurry to make this podcast, so I made the choice that I was going to have McDonald's for breakfast today.
What? Are you listening, everybody? What?
Exactly, right? So I had a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle, which those are delicious, and I had 2 of the breakfast burritos with salsa. And I made that choice because I'm aware of what I'm putting in my body and what the numbers are. I'm much more experienced with it. But the idea is to have a flexible diet strategy, and having some parameters to operate under in the beginning stages really give us, an idea of what we're actually consuming. Food is energy. It's not good and it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest misconception I think people in today's age really need to understand about food is it's not good and it's not bad, but there's a balance of energy that it contains. And so when you consume that energy, you're going to want to hit a certain amount each day, and you're going to want to burn a certain amount each day. I'm aware of my numbers and where I need to be at.
What are you talking about when you say numbers? Because I don't I think I get it, but I'm like, when you say numbers,
macronutrients and calories are going to be two of the biggest factors in play in terms of our overall energy balance. And as long as I have the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbohydrates, and the right amount of fats, which carbs and fats, I got mine in today in McDonald's. And I'm going to have more of them throughout the day because fat isn't bad. It's a source of energy that our body needs for our metabolism, all these billions of chemicals reactions. Our body needs to have fat.
Yeah.
Our body needs to have protein. It doesn't need to have carbs, but it should have carbs.
Carbs isn't like pastas, or carbs isn't like, I think, every Lent that comes around, I used to try to give up something. I do usually. And I'm not super religious, but I'm very spiritual, and I believe in like the collective of giving up something during that time. Long explanation to say that I used to give up like alcohol when I was, drinking a lot. I don't anymore because I don't give up alcohol during that time. This is totally weird that I'm saying all this, but I used to give up carbs too, is what I'm saying, during that time. And I think I was never angrier than when it was like when I was fine when I gave up alcohol, but when I gave up carbs, I was not a fun person to be around. So you're telling me that carbs are not great, and I and I should give them up still?
No, carbs are not your enemy. A lot of people undereat their carbs, and it leads to them feeling pretty miserable. We, you can get down to the biological level, the biochemistry of it all, but ultimately, like the simplest way I can put is carbs aren't the enemy.
Yeah.
And I eat a lot of carbs. That's actually one of the, the most important things you can consume if you're on a fitness routine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So how do you make this fun? Right. Because I think like, one of the things that I come to the table with is like, fitness is going to be hard work. Nutrition is going to be hard work. And, I wonder if we can make it lighter for, myself or individuals out there. Then how can we make it fun, I guess,
Sure. Let's take you for an example. What do you like to do that's fun outside? Say something that would be maybe with the family or with your friends.
Yeah, gosh, I'm sad because I was just thinking like all I think about right now is baseball with my kids, right? Or doing something with kids that is fun. And I don't know if I do anything fun with my friends anymore because we all have kids. But that's good. Baseball.
Sure. Baseball would be great. If you could make the commitment to, first of all, it's going to be great for your relationship with your children, of course.
Yeah.
But for you to go out 2 to 3 times a week and not just watch the kids play.
Wow.
Participate in play, throw the ball around. Like, I think being a kid is the reason why we're basically actors anyway.
Yeah.
It's permission to act like a child or act in any way, of course. And so, having fun with a fitness routine is the biggest piece of advice I could recommend to anybody. That's generally speaking, if we have specific things with the body that we want to strengthen or accomplish, that's when being in a fitness facility or a gym with specific exercises that are targeted for a specific reason, that will give you the bigger results for maybe if you have some corrective exercises or I want to build muscle. Building muscle you don't really do in sports. That's something you need to do in the gym. Increasing your bone density with resistance training as well. But to come back to even just having fun in the process of exercising is getting better. and seeing the fact that you're improving is one of the most satisfying feelings I think anybody can experience. You know, I can think of myself, my first acting class, or even before that, the first opportunity I got to act on camera. And I just didn't even realize I wasn't that great at it. And as I practiced and I got better, I started enjoying it when, you know, I thought I did better and there was feedback of my teachers saying you've improved. And a lot of the times with fitness, the first thing you'll notice is that you feel better when you're exercising. Maybe you have more energy or you feel stronger, more capable.
Yeah.
And then you'll start performing better. You'll feel like stronger. You're like, oh wow, like I am significantly better at this than I was a month ago even. And then typically the third stage is when you start to look better. And a lot of people, of course, that's what we're aiming for. We want that third step. I wish I could give it to you tomorrow so that it's just like we just keep going from here. But that delayed gratification is the most rewarding and fun experience for most people's lives, outside of any other accomplishments they may have, is earning that new lifestyle or the new compliments they get, or you know, how your headshots might even look a little bit sharper once you've been taking a little bit better care of yourself too. And making it fun, getting better at things, joining a community is one of the biggest things you can do as well, and make sure that you have like-minded people that are participating in it. You can gamify the situation a bit, but ultimately you want to find something you find enjoyable to do.
Yeah. You know, one of the big things that I hear a lot from my tribe of actors are, I want to get in shape before I have to take headshots, right? I want to get in shape before I go on set for X project or something. And I guess the answer here would be to stay in shape the whole time, so you don't have to get ready when those times come. But, you know, if we're all not like that, and we're all trying to be these leading men, what are some of the things that I should be doing or could do to get ready for my headshots or to get ready to go on to set, you know, to look.
I would, you know, say you want to look better and you want to start working on that process right away. I would identify what I'm doing. I do some triage and figure out, okay, what am I doing and what do I need to do? Right. And everyone's individually different. Right. But if it's the fact that, you know what, I'm not paying attention to what I'm eating at all. I know I'm stressed. Maybe somebody quit smoking and they manage stress by eating food too. So there's different challenges, but some people, they actually meticulously watch what they eat, but they maybe undereat and they don't exercise. And, you know, we talked about the mindset too, just having a limiting belief, not believing you can, or it won't work for you, or it's really hard. Like, is it worth it getting started? That's all subconscious communication to yourself too. So that entire time, if you don't make that decision to propel yourself forward, you're telling yourself you can't do it the whole time. And you won't unless you have a big catalyst.
Yeah. That's pretty deep. So again, you know, I believe a lot of the stuff we do is happening subconsciously, right? And we could be saying one thing and thinking a totally different thing. And if we're thinking something totally different, we are shooting ourselves in the foot, basically. And so what I heard you say there was that we could be telling ourselves we're getting ready for headshots, or telling ourselves that we're getting ready for on set, but really we're thinking we can't do it. Really, we're telling ourselves that we can't. And so again, it comes right back to mindset of, I want to get ready for these headshots. I want to look my best, but I don't really think I'm going to do it. Is that what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth there, but
yeah, I think you nailed it pretty well there. So it does come down to making a choice and making that identity shift and having that conversation with yourself and making decisions on that. A lot of people at that point in time, that's why I exist as a coach. Right. You can always reach out to me or somebody else that you find that resonates really well with you, or anybody else that you can work with on it. I think, a 10% change is something that can really drastically impact where you end up.
Yeah. I love that you say that, by the way. Sometimes even a 10% effort can get results, right? I thought that was such a beautiful just number to put on it, right? Because I think sometimes we feel like we have to go all in. It's all in or nothing. If I don't make this drastic cut out, all the popcorn or cut out all the stuff, like it won't matter. So for me, I'm very black or white sometimes. I have to get myself back into the gray. So it doesn't mean it's all or nothing. So a 10% change for me puts this nominal number on it. It's like, oh, that's not huge. Where'd you get that from?
I listen to a lot of like podcasts and stuff myself, and I can't remember exactly who I got it from, but I think it was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. And they talk about visualizing this one scenario. So if we want to take a step back, you can close your eyes, DaJuan, and I'm going to set you up here. So close your eyes, and we're just going to zoom out to a bird's eye point of view. And at the bottom of your vision, you're going to see two boats just sitting in the ocean. Now, these boats are pretty close to each other, and they're both just going up vertically, and they're going the exact same place. Now, the boat on the left is going to continue on that exact straight path, but the boat on the right is just going to deviate 1%, just to the right a little bit. And as each boat goes further, you'll see that the path on the left stays the exact same, but that boat that just deviated 1%, by the time it gets halfway or even further to the end, you'll notice that its end destination is drastically different than the boat that stayed the course. And you can come on out. But that's the visualization of just the path that we can take drastically by just a slight shift in the degree of what we're doing.
Yeah. I think a 1% change. Tony Robbins talks about that as well, about like course correcting. Like we can't course correct without like getting on a course, right? And so I love this idea of just a percent of a change, and it will definitely drastically change our outcome here. And applying it to headshots and applying it to getting fit and ready for a role. I want to bring this back to something I used to say a lot in some of my coachings with my actors, is that maybe the roles that we're looking for are waiting for us to get it together first, before, because we're always waiting. If I book this, then I'll get in shape, or I'll do the sit-ups that are required. But maybe it's on this end that we need to really dive into it and get fit, get our minds right, get our bodies right, and then all that other stuff will line up. Did I just make myself attach myself to something? I'm like, oh gosh.
I think that's a really common belief, right? And if everything comes together for me, then I can do such and such, right? And that's almost asking for the reward before doing the work.
Yeah. And that's not how it always works. Yeah. Well, I want to do Marvel. Like I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. And, I've often thought, well, maybe the Marvel gods or the DC gods, because I want to do superhero, we should say, that those gods are waiting for me to get fit first, and because I believe that it comes along with your mindset or your mind, like it's all gonna, follow each other. But I don't want to. I'm afraid to commit myself to it, and I think that's a limiting belief because it hasn't happened before. And so that mindset of it hasn't happened before, so why would it happen now? I've tried it before, and it hasn't fully sustained. I see you shaking your head. What are you going to say to me?
Well, it always starts with the mindset too. And so I'm a pretty avid reader, and it reminds me of a story of what Nikola Tesla said about Thomas Edison when they created the light bulb. And I believe the quote that when referring to Edison and what he would do if he had to find a needle in a haystack is he would proceed at once to start examining each individual needle or each individual stack of hay until he found the needle in the haystack, in the sense of you need to be relentless and persistent. And the fact that you're not finding success just means that you're on track, because until we find success, all we do find is failure. And so you have to fail forward and get back up on your acting chops, or when somebody inevitably has a tough weekend and they don't eat the perfect food that we had on our plan set together, the whole thing doesn't come crumbling down, because we built into our understanding that we're living human beings. Yeah. And you're allowed to not be perfect, but you're putting that effort in consistently, knowing that that's how we achieve great things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What about like stamina? Like, stamina, I always feel like I'm very tired. Is that just like, oh, I just need to get more sleep? And I probably have never felt in my life that if I got more sleep, I'm going to feel better. Like, I feel like it's just a never ending cycle of tired. Mm-hmm. Do you hear that a lot?
Yeah. You could think of it as energy as a renewable resource. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you may just be in a situation with your habits and your lifestyle that just cause you to not fuel up your tank as much. And, mm-hmm. and you're still running the car, mm-hmm. but we're only putting in a little bit of fuel. So that comes back even to the carbs. DaJuan, do you find that you may avoid carbohydrates on occasion because you just know like they're not as healthy, or do you find that you just eat them?
Again, wow. I mean, I guess let's just put it on the spot here. But I think that my health regimen is such a hodgepodge of stuff, right? It's stuff that I might have heard from way about before, or I'm going to pull that, I'm going to do this. And so, for example, what I mean by that, just to be very clear, is I kind of intermittent fast in my mind. Like, and so I won't eat until about like 1. I'll have some coffee, maybe with some oat milk, which is kind of like, still okay, right? So I won't do anything, or tea. Usually I have green tea. So I won't eat or do anything until about 1. And then about 1, I'll like throw some food down, and then I'll eat again, maybe around 6 or 7, somewhere in there, I'll snack. But then I stop eating again at 8. Or 9 if I'm pushing the times back, because that time. And I don't even know, now that I'm saying it out loud to you, I feel like I'm telling on myself that I don't really even know why I'm doing that still. I'm like, it's my psyched out way of telling myself you're still doing healthy. But I think I probably speak for a lot of people that we don't have anything in place. We're just, oh, I saw that in a commercial. Oh, that guy did that. Or I did this before. And so, yeah, I just told on myself.
Yeah. Well, I think that comes right back into the belief system. Mm-hmm. And the problem, I'd say, that the majority of us face is we're bombarded by conflicting advice, mm-hmm. in nutrition, fitness, and like, I like, Dr. Oz, and I like, mm-hmm. so-and-so. And so I listen to him on oranges, but I don't listen to his theory on this. And, we become our own pseudo experts in whatever we think we understand. Right. And sometimes it's better to listen to one voice, mm-hmm. and follow, mm-hmm. one path. And I don't want to say that I'm that voice for everybody or anybody, but
you can say it. I'll
say it. I'm the voice. Leading man protocol. There's the
yes. Yeah.
Following one voice is a system. It's following a framework, and it can lead to a lot of success. But imagine if we were driving down the road in a car, and all of the street signs were in different languages, mm-hmm. right? And you just got your driver's license.
Yeah, I'm having anxiety even like visualizing that right now.
Yeah, so that, to me, maybe that would be what I'd use for people to understand, that if you're just picking and choosing sources of information to try and follow, but none of it's cohesive, none of it makes sense together, it may be something where we tell ourselves, well, I'm doing my best. Maybe it's not just for me. And, I found for the case, the honest truth is, for 99% of people, it's just that they need to have that audit, or they need to have somebody look at it and maybe explain to them why, mm-hmm. it's not ideal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's just take this from the top, right? Let's just start. So I want to walk away from this podcast with like 3 things to do. Like, what do I need to do right now? It sounds like I need to do, first of all, an audit of my life. I like lifestyle. I don't mean my whole life, because that could take like a long time trying to figure out that, right? So we can do an audit of it. I know personally, DaJuan, it's why I give this type of support. This is why I think I have it in my business as well, because I work better with a support system in place, right? Left up to my own devices, I'm not really good with that. So after an audit, then it's like to find someone to work with, leading man protocol, to figure out what I want to achieve, right? What I want to achieve. And it could just be health. It could just be like feeling better. So I can feel like I'm sleeping better, or, waking up, whatever that is. And that all you're saying is mindset. It's nutrition and fitness. Mindset, nutrition, and then fitness, right? Those are the pillars there.
Mhm.
What could I walk away from this podcast doing right now in that area? Is it cook better, or is it go for a walk right after this podcast? Like, what would you tell me your steps?
Yeah. So again, of course, everybody's different and it depends.
He's so PC, so PC. Just tell me what you.
Yeah. So we talked about sleep, and sleep is a big
Mhm.
one that actually a lot of people don't get enough of. We
Yeah.
also get bombarded with like, oh, if you sleep, adequately, you're not working
Mhm.
hard enough, or that grind it out mentality. That's just inefficient. It's wrong. It's bad for your health. So,
Mhm.
barring the advice of a doctor, which could give you some different advice, I recommend people aim for about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night.
Mhm.
When we sleep, we recover, we lower our cortisol levels, allow our body to be reset for the labors of the next day. And if you don't give yourself that opportunity, you're already putting yourself in a bad position before your foot hits the ground off the bed. So
Mhm.
number one, make sure you're getting adequate sleep, 7 to 9 hours, unless directed differently by a healthcare practitioner.
Mhm.
Number two, nutrition. A lot of the time, people just need to be much more aware of what they're eating consistently.
Mhm.
So if you have zero strategy and you just eat when you're hungry, or you eat when you think you're supposed to eat because it's 12 o'clock and now it's time to eat, or so and so else is eating, that's not much of a strategy. So you might want to implement some sort of nutritional strategy.
I didn't see that coming, you all. I really was sitting here thinking that you were going to say I was doing great with my eating. You're like, that's not a strategy, DaJuan.
That's not going to cut it. Yeah, have a strategy. A lot of people do well with meal prep or other things. There's a variety of strategies you can implement, and so you got to find what works best for you. But develop a strategy in which you're going to eat your food, and give yourself permission to not be perfect, and to grow, and to learn and get a little bit better along the way. But making the conscious effort to include healthier items. I don't want to say there's good or bad, but eating fibrous vegetables or fruits, lean meats, eggs, typically, unless of course you have some sort of intolerance in your body or you're a vegetarian or vegan. Those are all things to actively look to add to your diet. And don't be overly concerned about taking away all the bad things. If you focus on just consuming whole foods that are healthier for you, you've already made a big stride right there. If you were to execute that consistently, you would see results.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels like I need to be on a regimen or a program, because even now I'm like, so if I don't eat the bread with the hamburger, we're still good. But that isn't a real strategy, right? That's me just being aware of what I'm eating and taking stuff away, instead of my consistent strategy is X, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, your strategy that works for you is a strategy that could work for you. If you are very active and you're somebody who exercises all the time, I'd probably tell you to have two burgers instead of one burger without the bun.
Mm.
So there's different strategies based on your activity level as well. If you are not active and you're not eating much food, you're not going to feel well. You're not
Mhm.
going to have the energy to do any exercise that you want to do. And you're actually not going to be burning as many calories because of there's some other factors that go along with your metabolism, the thermic effect of food, and other things that happen when we eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, exercise is going to be that last component. So you think of your body as an engine, and it
Mhm.
runs on calories. And so if we rev that engine up and we have it do more exercise, it's going to burn a greater amount of calories, which will allow you to eat more food and eat those carbs, but also feel well rested and feel the benefits of exercising consistently.
Oh man, I tell you, I'm gonna have to get up from this chair and do some. I wonder, like, can I take these Zoom calls walking? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like just moving the body as well would be great. So inside leading man protocol, you give all of these strategies. You give
Yes,
all of these
absolutely.
things. Yeah. So like you said, audit the mind. You do nutrition, meal prepping. Again, when you said that, I was like, yeah, but do I really know how to meal prep? What do I put in a meal? You know what I mean? You do all of this with your leading men.
Yeah, that's exactly the workload that I take on myself. So the people I work with, the actors I work with, don't have to be concerned about those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed actually for it to be a process that you become educated along the way, and you can
Mm-hmm.
start making better decisions on your own for well
Mm-hmm.
after the program. But you are low on time as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to spend your time not frantically searching the internet for the next intermittent fasting article so you can understand why you could eat 2 hours later or with your oat milk or anything. Like, memorize your lines, get better at
Mm-hmm.
your craft,
Yeah.
and like you would hire a mechanic to fix your car
Mm-hmm.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of working on your car, right? And so depending on where you are, some strategies are better than others. Having a system to learn and grow with is, the creme de la creme that you can really have. But as long as you even stick to some of the basic things we started with, you could at least make that 1% deviation in your lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, Nick, as we land this plane, man, I just want to say that I have a dream or a goal of taking one of those pictures in the mirror that people take. They have like this before and then they have the after, and to really just share with the tribe out there. I don't know if I believe that I could have that right picture, the left right side picture, where there is an ab showing anymore. I'm like, I don't know if that is true. And I'm sitting here, as I call myself one of the leaders of this tribe. I think we're all are leading each other and helping each other out, but that is a very big limiting belief I have of myself. So we got to do something about it, right? Like you and I'm like, how do I, do it? Look at me, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm usually comfortable, but I'm getting all uncomfortable, like moving my body and twitching because I'm like, gosh, am I gonna nail down? Is he gonna nail me down to a commitment to take this picture now that I've told him I want to take this picture?
Yes.
I'm uncomfortable.
The tribe wants you to. Everyone wants to see you be successful. That's the most important thing,
Of course,
right? And when you allow yourself the opportunity to not be perfect, ask for help, commit to growing in the process, making that identity shift, and then being a leader for others too. It gives you a massive opportunity to be that leader for others in your life in a variety of ways.
Yeah, I think also I didn't realize how much emotion or like how much feelings are associated with this topic until I'm sitting in front of, and also society, right? I'm sitting in front of another man, right? And I don't even believe in these social constructs all the time, but I'm sitting in front of another man telling him that, I am nervous about working out or I'm nervous about my body, automatically makes me feel quote unquote less masculine, right? Like, do you know what I mean? And it's something that it's a head game. It's a head game. And I never, I did not expect to go here on this podcast with that, but as I believe in full transparency, right? I don't want to be up here saying that like, yeah, we're going to do this. You guys go work out. And then I'm not sharing my truth as well. So I think that was something that came up for me. And it's like, be transparent about it. Be transparent about it. Like, I don't want to sit in front of this dude and be like, I'm having trouble thinking.
Where was that McDonald's that you went to?
I know, right? Exactly is what I'm thinking. But I'm also I'm feeling it. I'm feeling very uncomfortable about that next step. You know what I mean? But I know, like you're saying, if you're going to lead. That's what I always think. If you're going to be about it, be about it, So.
Yeah, I think it's, taking the responsibility for yourself. It can be quite uncomfortable for anybody who wants, to grow. and to look at yourself and go, I can improve on this. It takes a level of courage.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate you sharing that with me and the rest of the tribe too.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think what we're going to do here is, let's connect and let's come up with a situation, a plan, and let's see how it works. And then let's commit to, if not a Facebook Live or Instagram Live, let's commit to meeting up again. And 3 to 6 months down the road, I mean, we'll be in process in between, but coming up and sharing some results with the tribe. Am I saying this out loud? I can't wait. Let me just back up and rethink this. I'm not committing to anything.
We got you. We got the commitment.
Oh man. Nick, I am so happy you came on to talk to us, man. I'm so happy. So happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.